Through misdeeds of body, speech, and mind, I have amassed threefold wrong acts. In three ways, whatever I have done, these actions I confess in full. Whatever I've done, disrespecting Buddhas, the Dharma, and Shravakas too, these deeds I confess in full. Actions I have done lacking respect to Prakyakas Buddhas, as well as to the Bodhisattvas, these deeds I confess in full. Disrespect I have shown to those who preach the Dharma, likewise contempt to the Dharma itself, these deeds I confess in full. Continually unaware of its benefits, I have rejected the sublime Dharma. I have shown unwitting insolence to parents, these deeds I confess in full. Childish and veiled by stupidity, blind with desire and hatred, ignorance, arrogance, and pride, these deeds I confess in full. Honoring those who possess 10 powers, I shall worship those dwelling in all directions. I shall deliver sentient beings inhabiting every realm from all suffering. I shall place uncountable beings upon the Bodhisattva 10 grounds. Abiding in these 10 stages, may they all become Tathagatas. Until I am capable of freeing them all from countless oceans of suffering, for 10 million eons I shall strive for the sake of even one sentient being. To these sentient beings I shall reveal the sutra called the Sublime Golden Light, which rids one of every harmful misdeeds and expounds upon the profound. Those who for 1,000 eons committed deadly and unwholesome deeds, by confessing them earnestly once through this sutra, all will be purified. Swiftly and wholly consuming all karmic obscurations by making confessions through the sublime golden light, I shall abide in the 10 bodhisattva grounds, those mines of supreme precious jewels, that I may shine with all the Tathagatas' marks and signs of free beings from a notion of existence. Through Buddhas, who are water of oceans, their inconceivable Tathagata qualities akin to the ocean's profound depth, I shall evolve into an omniscient being. Becoming a Buddha, I shall possess the 10 powers, hundreds of thousands of concentrations, inconceivable magical mantra incantations, enlightenment's 7 wings, the 5 powers, and the 5 forces. Due to countless sinful actions performed in hundreds of eons past, my mind is pierced and stricken with grief, wretched with sorrow and fear. Solemnly fearing unwholesome deeds, I shall always keep my mind modest. Wherever I commit the smallest action, I will not succumb to frivolous excitement. Since Buddhas are compassionate and dispel the fright of all beings, I entreat them to hold the remorseful fast and free us from every fear. May the Tathagatas keep at bay my negative karma and emotions. May the Buddhas always bathe me with the water of their compassion. I confess all unwholesome deeds, whatever I've done in the past, whatever I've done in the future, these deeds I confess in full. I shall not conceal harmful actions I have done. In future times I shall refrain from deeds that render me full of shame. Actions I have done through body and speech, clearly impelled by the mind, those 10-fold actions I could accomplish, these deeds I confess in full. Renouncing the 10 unwholesome deeds and cultivating those which are moral, I will abide in the 10 grounds and acquire the Buddha's 10 great powers. Every unwholesome deed I have done that leads to unwanted results, in the presence of the Buddha, these deeds I confess in full. In the wholesome virtuous deeds of those dwelling in Jambudvipa, and those living in the other worlds too, in these deeds I rejoice. Likewise, whatever merit I've gathered through body, speech, and mind, by the force of this virtue's ripening effect, may supreme enlightenment be attained. Deeds committed on samsara's precarious wheel, those actions influenced by childish minds approaching the presence of the peerless 10 powers, all these deeds I confess individually through feeble birth, feeble existence, feeble world, and feeble volatile mind, multitudes of physical actions, these massive evil deeds I confess in full. Wretched with delusion are the childish and foolish, wretched through association with non-virtuous friends, wretched with existence, wretched with desire, wretched with hatred, wretched with ignorance, wretched with fatigue, wretched with time, and wretched in accomplishing virtue. I approach the incomparable conquerors, and confess all negative deeds individually. I prostrate to the Buddha's ocean of virtue, golden like Mount Sumeru. Going for refuge I bow my head, in prostration to the golden conquerors. Their compassionate light dispels the double mantle of darkness. Buddhas are suns, blazing glory, splendor and renown, golden in colors, eyes fine as pure, faultless lapis. They glow with glitter of pure gold. Their exquisite and beautiful limbs are utterly flawless and perfectly formed. From pristine limbs the Buddha's suns radiate shafts of golden light. Consumed by fires of negative passions, sentient beings blaze like fire. They are refreshed and soothed by the moon-like light of Buddhas. 32 major marks render their senses exquisitely refined. Their awe-inspiring limbs are graced by 80 minor signs, filled with merit and glory. Like splendid rays of spinning light, they orbit as does the sun in their darkness in the triple realms. Pure as lapis with an array of rich colors, exquisitely adorned by myriad webs of light, your limbs resemble the crystal silver and crimson of dawn. Like the sun of sages, you are enchantingly glorious. For those fallen into the great river of cyclic existence, tossed amid the crushing waves of sorrow and death, may abundant immense rays of the sun that is the Tathagata deplete the ocean of samsara, violet and cruel. With limbs shining brightly, the color of gold, they are wisdom's source, peerless among the three realms. Their limbs are adorned with intensely charming marks. I prostrate to the Buddhas whose bodies sparkle like gold. Just as oceans cannot be measured, just as dust on the earth is utterly without end, just as Mount Sumeru possesses matchless stone, and the edge of space is infinitely unknown. Likewise, the virtues of Buddhas are limitless. If sentient beings took the measure of their qualities, and for countless eons reflected upon them, still the extent of their virtue could not be seen. If counted for eons, one may possibly know water droplets at hair's ends, or particles of the earth, mountains, oceans, and rocks, but not the limit of Buddha's virtue. May sentient beings evolve into such Buddhas, graced with virtue, color, fame, and renown, their bodies embellished with major marks of goodness, and sublime 80 minor signs. Through these virtuous actions, I shall soon become a Buddha on this earth. Preaching the doctrine that guides the world, I shall free beings forever afflicted by suffering. I shall triumph over Mara with his army of might. I shall turn the wheel of virtuous Dharma. Abiding for inconceivable eons, I shall satisfy sentient beings with the water of the Dharma's nectar. Just as conquerors of the past completed 6 perfections, these perfections I too shall fully achieve. My ignorance, hatred, and desire pacified, I shall conquer delusion and dispel pain. I shall always remember my former births, hundreds of existences and 10 million lives, always recalling the vanquishing sages. I shall listen to their teachings in full. Through these virtuous actions, I shall always find the company of Buddhas. Accomplishing virtue, the source of every excellence, I shall thoroughly renounce unwholesome deeds. May the creatures of samsara's various realms be at peace without the misery of their worlds. May beings who lack sense faculties or hold defective ones be endowed with powers complete.